Let's talk about macOS and Linux. We're looking at two absolute heavyweights of the operating system world. If you ever found yourself wondering what actually separates the super sleek, polished world of Apple from the completely limitless, open-source frontier of the broader tech landscape, well, you are in the exact right place. Welcome to this explainer. Because, here is a really fascinating paradox. What happens when two operating systems share the exact same Unix DNA right under the hood, but are built for completely different users? Honestly, it's wild. Despite those shared roots, these distant cousins have evolved into radically different computing worlds. So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with their fundamental differences, check out the look and feel, peek at the power under the hood, dive into software, gaming, and security, and finally figure out which one actually makes sense for you. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. Distant cousins, different worlds.
Okay, so right off the bat, their core goals couldn't be more different. macOS is like a beautifully furnished walled garden. It completely prioritizes simplicity and deep integration, but exclusively for Apple hardware. Linux, on the flip side, it's an open-source sandbox built on total freedom. It really comes down to a choice. Do you want a pristine, polished experience locked to one device, or do you want the raw building materials to run on literally almost anything?
And that brings us to a fundamental concept you hear all the time with Linux, the distro. See, Linux itself isn't a full operating system. Actually, scratch that. It's really just the core kernel, the engine, if you will. To actually drive it, you choose a distribution that bundles that engine with specific software. Whether it's Ubuntu, Debian, Kali, it's a build-your-own-adventure setup that is completely foreign to Apple's unified what-you-see-is-what-you-get ecosystem.
Moving on to Part 2, the look and feel.
So Apple strictly controls the design of macOS, right? And the result is a remarkably smooth, unified interface. You've got the iconic dock, the Finder, and those incredibly slick animations optimized for Retina displays. It's built to be absolutely foolproof for beginners. But that consistency definitely comes at a cost. Apple intentionally hides the deep, advanced customization settings away so you don't accidentally break the feng shui.
Now compare that pristine control to Linux. Depending on your distro, you literally choose your own desktop environment, like GNOME or KDE Plasma, and gain almost unlimited customization. You want to change every single icon, tweak the window behavior, completely redesign the menus? You can entirely do that. The trade-off, though, is a steeper learning curve and, occasional visual inconsistencies.
Basically, think of it like this. macOS hands you the keys to a pristine, ready-made luxury apartment where everything just works perfectly out of the box. Linux, on the other hand, is like getting the keys to a massive hardware store. It lets you control every single detail, and it even offers ultra-lightweight setups specifically designed to resurrect old computers that would otherwise just be sitting in a landfill.
All right, let's look at Part 3, power under the hood.
If we look under the hood, macOS utilizes the ZSH shell by default in its terminal. This gives you a highly stable Unix environment that developers absolutely rave about. It lets you wield powerful tools like Homebrew, Git, and Xcode, all without sacrificing that beautiful graphical interface we were just talking about. It is honestly a web developer's dream. But then you have Linux, which takes terminal power to the absolute extreme, often utilizing the notoriously powerful Bash shell. While macOS definitely has a great terminal, Linux allows you to completely manage the entire operating system without a graphical interface at all. If you really want to, you can run your whole machine purely on text. And because of that raw access, Linux is the undisputed king of high-level tasks. We're talking bash scripting, complex networking, automation, penetration testing. If you are studying cybersecurity or managing cloud servers, Linux is going to be your absolute best friend. But, fair warning, if you aren't familiar with command line syntax, it can definitely feel a bit like trying to read the Matrix.
Which brings us to Part 4, software, gaming, and security.
How you actually get your software is fundamentally different between the two. macOS users enjoy a super familiar iPhone-like app store or those simple drag-and-drop installers. Linux, however, relies on highly efficient package managers like apt or pacman. You're mostly installing software directly via the command line, pulling almost instantly from vast, decentralized repositories of free applications.
When it comes to privacy and security, the philosophies are miles apart. macOS keeps things incredibly neat and controlled behind the scenes. They use features like gatekeeper and sandboxing to strictly limit what apps can actually do. Linux, though, gives you raw, transparent control. Want to configure a wildly complex iPables firewall directly in the terminal? You have the absolute freedom to do exactly that. Ultimately, you can think of macOS as a digital bodyguard with incredibly strong default security. You generally see fewer malware threats, but Apple absolutely dictates the rules. Linux basically hands you the keys to the armory. Thanks to tools like SE-Linux and open-source transparency, it can literally be the most secure system on Earth, provided you don't accidentally misconfigure something yourself.
Now, I know you might be wondering about gaming, and wow, the landscape is shifting here. macOS delivers incredible efficiency with Apple Silicon, but let's be honest, it still heavily lags behind when it comes to major AAA titles. Meanwhile, Linux gaming has completely exploded. Thanks to tools like Proton, Wine, and the massive success of the Steam Deck, tons of Windows games actually run beautifully on Linux now. Really, stubborn anti-cheat systems are kind of the final hurdle.
And this brilliantly illustrates the hardware divide. macOS delivers incredibly smooth performance and insane battery life at a premium price point, but with zero repairability or upgrade paths. Linux, though, it's the ultimate DIY champion. It runs massive cloud servers, custom-built desktop PCs, tiny Raspberry Pis, and like we mentioned, it is unmatched at keeping old hardware out of the garbage bin.
Finally, part 5. Which is right for you? Let's break it down. So, who are these actually for? Well, for students, content creators, and iOS developers, macOS is highly recommended. Like we said, it's your luxury apartment, integrated, stable, and highly creative. But for DevOps, Docker, server management, and ethical hacking, Linux completely dominates. It is your open plot of land, offering boundless, unfiltered control.
To put it into perspective, macOS is designed to be the ultimate lifestyle hub. It seamlessly links your phone, your watch, and your laptop into one unified daily flow. Linux is designed to be the absolute workhorse of the modern world. It is quietly out there, powering the literal backbone of the internet, enterprise servers, and global cybersecurity, all from behind the scenes.
So I'll leave you to ponder this final question. Does the future of computing lean toward Apple's seamless walled integration, or Linux's boundless open-source freedom? As you think about what kind of digital world you want to live and build in, just remember that both of these Unix-based cousins offer incredible power. They just harness it in completely different ways. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.